Illinois loves me too. They're the 1 seed. Drexel, not so much. They're the 16. Loyola, Chicago, and then Georgia Tech. I'd like to see Oklahoma State against Tennessee. Cade Cunningham, projected #1 pick in the NBA draft against a defensive-minded volunteer team. Look at San Diego State and Syracuse. San Diego State 24 as the overall seed. Syracuse 41. But San Diego State just favored by 1.5 in this one. And keep in mind, Rutgers is the 10 seed. They are favored over the 7 seed Clemson, albeit just by a point, but Rutgers is a slight favorite. All right, putting the band back together. There he is, Tim Doyle, Kenny White, Wizard of Odds, Larry Hartstein from Sportsline. Illinois and Drexel, it's 22.5, it's 144.5. And these big numbers, these 1 through 16, I start looking at how good they shoot free throws at the end. I look at blowout games. Does a coach pile it on, or does he pull up the gear early? What do you want to do here, Larry?
Well, Drexel had a great run, and they were a great cover team throughout the season, and especially in their tournament. But now they come against an Illinois team with Kofi Cockburn, and Drexel's center is 6'8". I mean, that's not going to work. He's going to absolutely dominate. You know, Illinois is one of 4 teams in the field, top 20 in both offensive and defensive efficiency. And those are the only teams that have won the tournament in the last 20 years. Those 4 are Illinois, Michigan, Gonzaga, and Houston. I love Illinois in round 1.
Yeah, I'm passing on the game. It could be a little bit of a letdown after winning the conference tournament. They won't have to play their starters deep into this. Love Drexel's coaches' names. They went from Bruiser Flint to Zach Spiker. Zach Spiker, this is the first time he's gotten his team to the NCAA tournament. They play a little defense here, Drexel, this year, so could be interesting down to the wire. But yeah, the Illini are far more talented. I think Tim mentioned a game earlier. They could win by 40 if they wanted to, very easily.
They're not going to want to. Because who's waiting next round for them? Loyola, Chicago. Why run up the score? Why show them your out of bounds play? Why run the guys out there? I like the dog in this spot because I think they're going to have their hands really full against Loyola, Chicago. Loyola, Chicago is the one team when I saw their seeding, they got totally hosed. Now, they may lose their matchup against Georgia. Actually, they're not going to lose. I actually think they're closer to a 4 or a 5 seed. Just talent-wise, eyeball test. The net and all the numbers aren't going to show that. They have guys that went to the Final Four 3 years ago. Lucas Williamson was Defensive Player of the Year in Missouri Valley, and Cameron Krutwick. My point is, they're going to be watching this game. Like, you don't want to show them everything, even though these kids all know each other growing up in the Chicagoland area. I like the dog in this spot. I think Illinois is going to be a little bit drained. They're going to rest their guys, be more prepared, more worried about Loyola, Chicago. I like the dog here.
Yeah, I'm thinking I might like the points too. I figure they're going to foul Kofi Cockburn every chance they get and just keep you wearing those fouls out, put him on the line. He's a 55% shooter. Walk it up, make the game short. Don't let them get easy baskets. And every time he gets it, you know, hack-a-shack type of thing and see what happens. And maybe you can keep close. Maybe he gets a little spooked at the line where he starts clanging some balls and maybe you can hang in there late. Anyway, Loyola against Georgia Tech. Tim already told us who he likes. Larry Hartstein, 2.5. That's it. Loyola favored over the ACC Conference Tournament champs. Loyola is the 30th team according to the seeding. Is that porridge too hot, too cold, or just right?
You know, this line appears to already be moving toward the Ramblers. Terrible draw. Tim said terrible draw for Loyola. I think terrible draw for Georgia Tech. You win the ACC, and you get the team that is ranked number 9 in KenPom. That's 9th overall. They're that good. You know, they're just elite defensive team. They had very few slip-ups all season. Yeah, Loyola Chicago's the play.
Yeah, this was horrendous. Loyola Chicago is a far better basketball team than the seed they were given here. So I'm just amazed that they were. And then they got to play Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech fits. Maybe Georgia Tech was given a bad seed, too. They should have been a higher seed. They went 8-0 down the stretch, 7-1 ATS. They're a really good basketball team, well coached, too. I made the game 3.5. I passed on the side. But I did play the total under because Josh Pastner, outstanding teacher at defense in Loyola. Right now, they rank number 1 in KenPom in defensive efficiency. They're that good, and they play very, very slow.
And they're not big, so Loyola may not have to see the real tall trees. It's going to be an interesting game. I'm fascinated there. I know Timmy likes Loyola. He's got the hammer out. Next up, Tennessee and Oregon State. Oregon State, one of these teams, again, did they sort of, play their Super Bowl and now they can, they're going to go quiet, gentle into that good night? Or are they a team on a roll coming out of nowhere to win the Pac-12? They are getting 8.5 from Tennessee, 135.5. Larry Hartstein.
Yeah, this line looks a little high at first. I mean, Tennessee, elite defensively, much deeper than Oregon State. But Oregon State, look what they did. You have to respect what they did. I mean, they're winning games outright as significant underdogs. And this is the same range that they were underdogs against Oregon and against Colorado. I mean, they have just been cashing relentlessly. So it's hard to go against them at this point.
Yeah, but I'm fading the Pac-12, and the reason why, look at Oregon State won the Pac-12. That's how bad the other teams were. They're not a very good basketball team, so I will be on Tennessee here. I think they'll have a chip on their shoulder. They just played Alabama down to the wire, and I played Tennessee in that game because I made Tennessee won. I think Tennessee is that good. If it was Alabama and Oregon State in this game, what would the line be, 15?
It might be, and Alabama might go out there and get 110 points because they're so explosive from an offensive perspective. Tennessee's bigger, they're stronger, they're more physical, but they go through droughts where they have a tough time scoring. I'm not going to lay 8.5 points in this game. Oregon State's playing with a lot of swagger, a lot of confidence right now. It's interesting that Kenny said he's fading the Pac-12. I'm fading the Big East. Take a deep dive into that conference. They're a mess right now, to say the least. And the seeds they got, I actually think they got a little bit too much respect from the seeding. The Big East, I've circled them. That is fade central right there. But I think Tennessee wins this game, but I wouldn't lay all those points.
Do like Wayne Tinkle, 6'10", the coach at Oregon State. And if anybody watched their final against Colorado and listened to Bill Walton on the telecast, I still don't know what the heck that was about. I'll just say this. One time I had Bill Walton on my radio show, and I said, hey, Bill, how are you? He went 6 minutes, and I said, thanks, Bill, and that was the whole interview. That's all I got in. How are you? And thanks, Bill. Tremendous man. Love him. Okie State's a 4 seed. They're taking on Liberty. Oklahoma State going to feel disrespected as a 4 seed. Some people thought 3. There were even some people thought 2 seed. But they're not even the first or second 4 seed. Like, they weren't even close. They were locked in on the 4 line. 9.5-point favorites, 146.5. What do you want to do here, Larry?
Well, Liberty knocked off a 4 seed, I believe it was 3 years ago at Mississippi State. They're a very dangerous team. They shoot 39% from 3-point range. So my first lean would be Liberty with the points, but I got to get double digits. This line already coming down.
Yeah, Rich McKay is a tremendous coach. They play very methodical. They are good on offense as well. Defensively, they struggle a little bit. Kind of surprising for a team that's that methodical. I'm worried about right now this year's tournament because underdogs feed off that crowd. And when these arenas are full, the underdog really thrives off that, and they come back, and everybody's rooting for the dog. I just don't think there's going to be that type of energy in the building. The players got to bring it themselves. I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult for dogs to cover in this tournament than they have in the past.
Yeah, I'm just not really sure where Oklahoma State's head's going to be at. They had a great finish to the year, and now they might be a little humana. We should have got a 3. We were playing for a 2. We finished the season strong, and then they run into Liberty. Let's not forget this is Liberty Super Bowl, and they've done it before, and their coach has done it before. So there's going to be a belief there. Hey, I think Cade Cunningham could go to a Final Four, maybe even win a national championship by himself because he's starting to get help from other guys around him on his squad. But I'm not going to lay the points in this game. I like the dog in this spot. I think this is going to be a game where I bet Liberty in the first half, maybe try to catch a middle at halftime. I think Liberty's going to win the first half, and then it's going to be a dogfight the rest of the game.
Next up, I find it interesting, San Diego State, well, I think is good. They're a 24th ranked team by seed according to this committee. Syracuse is 41, so they actually got in pretty easily. They were not like last team in like a lot of people thought. But the Aztecs only favored by 1.5, 137.5 is your total. Kind of like San Diego State here, even though I got a lot of friends that root for the Orange. What do you want to do here, Larry?
Well, the Orange should be in a play-in game because they have one quad win. I believe it was over UNC by 2 points. San Diego State, a very veteran team, a very good defensive team. It's a real small number. I'll lay the points.
Yeah, I'm going to lay the points as well. This Syracuse defense has just not been the same zone type of defense. That matchup zone has struggled this year. San Diego State has enough offensive firepower that they can score points, but it's going to be their defense that makes the difference in this game. So, yeah, I'm on San Diego State.
Yeah, I like the under in this game. I think San Diego State overcame kind of their big obstacle. They had lost 2 times in a row to Utah State, and they won. And what they win with their defense. I mean, they really suffocated Utah State. Watching that game, you're just wondering how they're going to score, especially in the half court. And that's what we're going to wonder with Syracuse. And Syracuse still going to play the zone, and he recruits guys that fit that zone that are long and athletic and get out on shooters. San Diego State's going to win this game, but I like the under more. This is going to be a grind fest, and you can make money with a grind fest, Eric. You know what I mean? It's not all about overs. Once in a while, bet an under, lock in, root for famine, root for turnovers, root for bad things to happen, and then cash your ticket at the end of the day.
Listen, the public likes overs, so the value's on the under. I say it at least once a week on this program. You take points, you take unders, you bet against public perception. That's how you make money if you're going to do this sort of regularly, so I'm with you. By the way, I know the committee says how you're playing lately doesn't matter, but I think Syracuse's seed tells you otherwise. They looked putrid for basically 2/3 of a season, and then the last 2 weeks, they look like a tournament team. They look like a tournament team. And not only they put them in comfortably. Next up, West Virginia. This is kind of the team, if you say to me, not a 1 or a 2, who do you like? I like them more than other folks. They're giving 12.5, 137.5 to the Fighting Phil Simms of Morehead State. Larry Hartstein.
Well, I love the OVC, and Morehead State was the best defensive team in the OVC by far. It wasn't even close, and they won 15 of their last 16 games. And West Virginia, to me, very talented offensively, but kind of suspect defensively. I'm going to take the points here. That's a lot of points.
Yep.
I'm going to go under the total. Larry mentioned the defense. Morehead plays great defense. They do, and they're very methodical on offense. They'll slow this down. West Virginia's going to try to get that up to an up-tempo game, but Morehead State's not going to fall into it. They'll keep it close. They'll keep it low scoring. I'm not sure how West Virginia, how excited they are about this game or not against Morehead, so hard to lay the points in this situation.
Yeah, I had their coach Preston Spradlin, the head coach of Morehead State, on my podcast, which drops tomorrow, I believe. But anyway, I taped it last week after they made the tournament. And his team is physical. They're tough. And something that he has, a rule of his team, you're not allowed to say my bad. Okay? So when I pick multiple losers, because that's going to happen throughout the tournament, I'm going to pick losers. I'm not going to say my bad. His team rule is I'm going to get it back. So when I stay out all night and drink bourbon and come home at 3 a.m. and the wife's yelling at me, not going to say I'm going to get it back. What am I going to do, Eric? Clean the kitchen, clean the bathroom. I'm going to go get it back, or I'm going to make up for it another way. You know, because I feel like in a marriage, I'm always playing from behind, right? I'm always down 4 and we're fouling late. I've never had the lead in my marriage. It's always like 78-74, wife to Tim. But like I'm slowly catching up. So I like Morehead State in this game. I think it's gonna be a low scoring game. I like dog in that game, but do not say my bad. I'm gonna get it back.
Hey, my kids are not allowed to describe anything as strange or weird because I tell them it doesn't mean anything. That just means different. Strange and weird can be good. They could be bad. They could be anything at all. So you got to do a little better than that. So I like this coach already. I don't like the fact that I haven't been invited on the Tim Doyle podcast yet. And I'm going to pout until I am invited because you're really missing out. Anyway, next up, we have Clemson. We have Rutgers. You want to talk injustice? How about this for injustice? And I'm not just talking about me not being invited on the podcast. Rutgers is the 10 seed, but yet they're favored by a point in this one. 10 favored over 7, despite the fact that Clemson's ranked 27th and Rutgers is the 40th ranked team, according to the committee. What do I do here? Is this one of those where you want to lay the point even though they're the 10 seed, Larry Hartstein?
This reminds me of that Florida-Virginia Tech matchup where you have 2 teams from power conferences that were not all that impressive. Neither team coming into this tournament hot. Rutgers can't shoot. I mean, 25% from 3-point range the last 9 games. I'm going to lean Clemson.
Yeah, but they don't turn over the basketball, and they do score on 2-point shots. Their offense is ranked 75th in the country against the 6th most difficult schedule. I like Rutgers in this game. I laid 1 already, but I went under the total as well because both teams play outstanding defense. Clemson's had their struggles offensively all year. I'm going to go with Rutgers and the under here.
Yeah, I like the under as well. And get excited if you're in New Jersey, for crying out loud. Like, Rutgers is in the tournament. How awesome is this? This is a game that may have the least luster of all games throughout the tournament. Rutgers and Clemson. But just think about all like the Dianes that are gonna be like, hey, get over here, Rosie, get over here. That's how they used to talk to me. Hey, Diane, check out this guy. He says he's got the best hair in the Big Ten. I think this is gonna be a low scoring game. I think the Dianes the Rosies, the Angelos, because they do three things in Jersey. We know it, they do it well. But now that Steve Peichels and Piscataway, they do four things well. Gym, tan, laundry, and defense. Give me the under in this spot. And Diane, still think about you once in a while.
I do love Piscataway when the Nets played there. And one year their marketing slogan was, "It's that-a-way to Piscataway." Not the best. Not the best. Houston is a 19.5-point favorite over Cleveland State. 135. Hey, once upon a time in the 80s, Mouse McFadden and Cleveland State knocked down Indiana in the first round. That's right. Indiana ended up winning the title the very next year. I mean, if you read that Season on the Brink book, that's right. That's what happens at the end. They get picked off. Will Cleveland State pick off Houston? First up, Larry Hartstein.
Cleveland State had a great year. But Houston, this is what they do. When they come up against the big teams like Memphis, they struggle and it goes to the wire. But when they come up against lesser competition, they absolutely demolish them, as we saw today. I just love it. The way they crash the glass, they own the glass. I'm going to lay the points with the Cougars.
I'm going to go under. Another defensive game with two slow, methodical teams. Cleveland State plays very, very slow. Their defense is far better than their offense, and Houston does have a great offense. They really do. And that's been some great games against Memphis. But in this one, under the total for me.
Yeah, I like Houston to come out of the Midwest. Oops, sorry, Illinois. Yeah, I think Houston's coming out of the Midwest. As far as this particular game, I guess I would lay the points just because they pound everybody. Like, you got to lay double digits with them and they just pound people, whether it's Cincinnati or I really liked Western Kentucky. I mean, they just destroy people. Quentin Grimes having an outstanding year. I think Houston's going to be really, really, really dangerous. They're my pick in the Midwest, and I think they absolutely roll. And if you look at that bracket, the bottom half, in my eyes, they have a cakewalk to the Sweet 16.
There you go. Well done, gentlemen. Certainly appreciate that. There is your bracket in that region, the Midwest. Let's take another look at the Midwest. Illinois, your top seed. Houston is the 2. How about Clemson as the 7, underdogs to Rutgers? Yeah, it's only a point. West Virginia's the 3. Morehead State, dangerous. They're 14. Syracuse almost dead even with San Diego State on the spread. Aztecs only favored by 1.5. And if you keep working your way up, Oklahoma State, a lot of people thought it'd be a 2 or a 3 seed. They end up on the 4, and they weren't even the top 4. We'll see how they do against Liberty. A lot of experience coming into this tournament for those kids on this year's Flames.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.